So I know I've done this video before, but hey, there's always new subscribers, and I always like to, go back to old videos and, kind of remake them as I see fit. So, yes, as you can see, this is going to be my pitch for a Phantom of the Opera movie from Blumhouse. Obviously with Blumhouse taking over with the Universal monsters, or most of them at least, with Wolfman days away as of this recording. I thought it'd be kind of cool to revisit a character that I think needs to go back to the horror genre. No disrespect, I am I do enjoy my musicals, and Phantom of the Opera, the musical, is great, but I think it's kind of overshadowed the original monster that is Eric the Phantom. So I think if Blumhouse ever approaches Phantom of the Opera, I feel like it needs to go like this. Like, it really needs to go in something of this vein. In fact, I was kind of hoping, Leigh Whannell would be the one to do... I was kind of hoping... and I know Blumhouse didn't do this, it was solely Universal, but when I heard Radio Silence was doing a Universal monster movie, I was in the hopes that it was a Phantom of the Opera movie. I mean, they're really good at doing, these tight, enclosed, single spaces, and they've clearly shown a major love for slashers, so I was kind of in the thought process of, oh, it's Phantom. They're gonna make the Phantom. And when I heard, Giancarlo Esposito was in the movie, I was like, oh, so please tell me Giancarlo Esposito is the Phantom. But no disrespect to Abigail. I really love that movie. But didn't happen. So yeah, we're just going to talk, for this, it's just going to be my pitch for a Phantom of the Opera movie. And I'm always excited to hear yours. So basically, how I kind of want this movie to be is that the original, I want this to actually be in canon with the original Phantom of the Opera movie. Either, you can be, and Universal or in Blumhouse can be cheeky and say, are they referring, you could either make this as a sequel to the Claude Rains Phantom or the Lon Chaney Phantom. You could easily pop this in and say, it's a legacy sequel to either of these Phantom of the Opera movies. I'd probably say Universal would probably say make it a sequel to the Claude Rains ones, because we still have the rights to that one. Whereas the Lon Chaney Phantom of the Opera, while that is Universal, that is under public domain. But it's very clear that which is weird, because they clearly take a lot more from Lon Chaney's Phantom whenever they think of designs for the Phantom of the Opera. So maybe they would be willing to just go with the silent era, because everyone just knows that one better and likes that one better. People consider that one to be more in canon with the original, to be more in canon with the Universal monsters than Claude Rains. No disrespect to Claude Rains, I think he's a great Phantom, but that movie on a whole is really just on the level of mediocre. I mean, yes, it did win an Oscar, and it has great opera members, but as a Universal monster movie, it is mediocrity. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. But yeah, so getting back on track, how I would like to see this Phantom movie play out is basically how I would have it is that the events of Phantom of the Opera happened. They happened decades ago, the 1800s, like I said, 1800s. And it's always been kind of almost like a historical thing, but the Phantom himself, yes, they're basically saying that there was a major accident, there were murders, there were deaths that happened at the Paris Opera House, but the Phantom's more treated like an urban legend. He's basically this being in the shadow, he's always been was it really a dude? Was it actually a guy? I mean, in this one, I would say that Christine Daae and Raoul, they were real people. They were real people, and their accounts were taken in, their accounts of the matter were taken to record, but no, there's never been, any concrete proof of the Phantom, because, yeah, all of his shit's gone. His lair, that got flooded, so there's no, in the Paris catacombs. So there's no real way to prove that the Phantom was ever real. That's kind of what, but it's always been a myth. The chandelier did crash, it killed people, there were deaths, and there were murders, and people did say, and people were kind of well, maybe it was, there was a lot of theory that maybe it's someone who took on the moniker, was kind of almost like a Scooby-Doo episode. In fact, we'll touch on that idea in a bit, but basically it's yeah, they are essentially just kind of like, yeah, this was a idea, you know, this was basically the idea, where it was a killer, someone dressed up and took on the, like, there was always that myth of the Phantom, maybe someone just took on that moniker to scare the, you know, the opera house owners to selling, because that was a very the Paris Opera House was always a profitable, like, land. So maybe, again, kind of playing into that whole, like, almost like a Scooby-Doo episode. So now we're in the present time, we're in present day, and the Paris Opera House has basically been like, there's been hauntings. Like, there's been a haunting of, is it the Phantom returned from the dead, or is it someone else? And we basically have a crew of people who are going into the Opera House one night to, as like a team trying to, like, debunk the Phantom. Like, that's all it is. It's especially have it that, like, I wouldn't say, like, one of them's related to Christine Daae. Like, one of them is a descendant of Raoul and Christine. I'd have it more of, it's just someone who had heard the stories, read all the books, and is, like, does believe that the Phantom was a real person, and wants to see, and it's a woman, and she wants to see for herself if he was ever real, or find any evidence that at least there was that Eric was real. So it kind of would be like more like a slasher version of a Scooby-Doo episode. Like, have it that this group in the one night in the Paris Opera House is just getting they're being hunted by the Phantom. But here's the thing: is the Phantom real or not? Like, is it a person? Like, is it like, that would be the whole guessing. That would be the main crux of this film, where it would be more of, is it more a living person, or is it Eric's ghost? Like, is it like an actual Phantom? Like, because there would be moments where it's like, yeah, he just up and vanished. There's no way he could have gone, like, there's no, like, fake wall or something. Or there'd also be explanations where it's like, that's a false bottom. He could easily just jump through. And then there'd be like, then someone would go, yeah, but the fall would break, even if he did jump through that, he'd break his legs and he'd go limping off. He's like, so he's on PCP or something. Who the fuck knows? And that would be the main thing of this film, where the characters are always questioning their sanity as the Phantom is, like, circling them like a shark, just picking off anyone he can get his hands on. And again, really playing to that, like, almost like Scream kind of feel to it. That's why I was kind of like, yeah, Radio Silence would be perfect for a Phantom of the Opera story, especially one like this, where you could really play with a lot of those kind of themes. So yeah, just kind of play with the whole story of, is it real, or is it someone, like, is it some kind of psychopath? Is it just a guy who's killing all of us and is just a crazy guy pretending to be the Phantom, like how all the stories were like, yeah, it was just a guy, like, yeah, maybe this Eric wasn't real and someone just took on that moniker ages ago just to be like the next Jack the Ripper. So it'd be, again, we're playing with that whole thing of, is the Phantom real or not? And that would be the main, as the cast is being chased by it. And honestly, I wouldn't reveal it. I would not reveal, like, if I had my say in this movie, I would never reveal, is it a real ghost, or is it someone else? Like, I would just leave even like, everyone just kind of up that idea of, is it Eric's ghost, or is it some other whack job in a mask? That's what I would kind of leave up to interpretation. But anyway, so that's pretty much my pitch for a Phantom of the Opera movie. I think at the core of it, I just kind of want the Phantom to be scary again. I would love to see the Phantom of the Opera be a scary character again. That's really all I want. Anyway, so you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of this pitch? Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.